This presentation is aimed at evaluating the business value of the VistA program and its effect on the Department of Veterans Affairs. Some benefits an organization may encounter from implementing an information technology system are increased efficiency and reduced errors because a less amount of paper is used, all the patient's information is stored in one place, easily located by the staff member who needs it, and, for once, a physician's handwriting can be read. This increase in efficiency can then lead to a reduction in the amount of medical errors, therefore improving the overall quality of the healthcare facility. Last, because of the centralized location of all of a patient's records, there is a smaller chance someone will need to be readmitted to the hospital for an issue that was overlooked the first time around. On the other hand, installing an information system does have a high implementation cost, and if not implemented correctly, it can cause the corporation to lose large amounts of money. Gateway, Hershey, Kmart, and Nike have all had issues with implementation of information technology systems, resulting in a large amount of revenue loss. The problem usually stems from more of a misevaluation of IT rather than from mismanagement of the new technology. This presentation shows a new way of evaluating the business value of IT in terms of the information software at VistA and the Department of Veterans Affairs. According to the Department of Veterans Affairs website, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is the most comprehensive system of assistance for veterans of any nation and has the vision to provide veterans the world-class benefits and services which they have earned. According to fiscal year 2008, their medical system supports 7.84 million people with 153 medical centers and 768 outpatient clinics. Established in 1996 by the Chief Information Office, VistA is an enterprise-wide information system built around an electronic health record used and fully implemented throughout the VA medical system. It was named one of the best healthcare information systems in the nation by the Institute of Medicine, and it supports the day-to-day operations of the Department of Veterans Affairs. Because there are no license fees to use the software, this makes VistA an affordable electronic health record system for all healthcare organizations within the VA system. Since its implementation, VistA has become vital to the day-to-day operations at all VA medical facilities. Overall, this coordination of information can lead to a better coordination of care for every patient. To show the business value for the VA implementing the VistA program, we start with the basic data. This starting data, which is used and compared in this presentation, became available after the passage of the Freedom of Information Act in 2007 on the Department of Veterans Affairs website. This data spans 6 years and includes information on the Budget Office of Information, the number of records in VistA, and the VHA Cost Per Patient Index for each fiscal year. These will now be referred to as the investment, use, and productivity of the Department of Veterans Affairs, respectively. The first measurement that needs to be calculated is the correlation coefficient. The correlation coefficient computed from the sample data measures the strength and direction of a relationship between the two variables. Correlation is measured from -1 to 1 and represented by the correlation coefficient. The closer the correlation coefficient is to either 1 or -1, the stronger the relationship between the two variables. The stronger relationship results in more significant information for any corporation to use. With the correlation between investment and use equaling 0.765, the correlation between use and productivity equaling 0.566, and the correlation between investment and productivity equaling 0.892, we can see where the strongest correlation occurs. The information in the previous slide showed that there is a strong positive correlation between productivity and IT investment. The graph shows this positive correlation of 0.892. This strong correlation leads us to think that maybe either IT investment leads to productivity or productivity leads to IT investment. But what the data doesn't show is which situation is true. While correlation between the different variables does not equal causation, once correlation is found, causation can then be determined. With the strongest correlation determined to be between productivity and IT investment, there are two possibilities when it comes to determining causation. Situation 1. Productivity causes IT investment. Or, Situation 2. IT investment causes productivity. To determine which situation is correct, we can use the equations which are listed. For both of those equations, the variable use is used to help determine causation. The symbol PPU symbolizes the correlation between productivity and use. PPI symbolizes the correlation between productivity and investment. And PUI symbolizes the correlation between use and investment. By plugging in the numbers from the previous table, we get the values negative 0.12 and 0.46 as the final answers. Keeping in mind the equation that gives an answer closer to 0 will show the correct form of causation. Since the result negative 0.12 is closer to 0 than 0.46, we can conclude that productivity leads to investment. This presentation has shown there's a strong positive correlation between productivity and IT investment. Furthermore, this shows that for the Department of Veterans Affairs, a lower cost per patient index led to greater IT investment. Even with all this promising data, limitations still occur. For one, the data we calculated with was limited. We only have information from the last few fiscal years, and since the more years that are included, the more accurate the data and the results are, this could eventually become a problem. Also, the data can only be applied to this specific case involving the Department of Veterans Affairs and the information system software VistA. Another issue that could have occurred is the hospital might not have accurately tracked the use of VistA, since it is a new program and many doctors and nurses are new to this particular style of documentation. But even with all of these limitations, the results are still promising and show that IT software can be useful if it is implemented correctly.